Hey everybody, back working today. Gonna work on this 115 Mercury outboard, two-stroke outboard. Seen in some previous videos I've done that, when we tore it down, and I gave you an update a little while back on where we're at. And where we're at is, this engine had a scored piston, the bottom cylinder. Piston was scored, the cylinder was scored, it was worn badly, and we were looking at getting it overboard. And the reality of life was, not every shop can rebore and hone one of these engines. It takes some special techniques because the cylinder heads, the cylinders don't have a removable head. And so you have to load everything in this engine from the bottom. And while we were looking for a shop, Jerry was checking with local shops. One of the local dealers had an old engine. It's a few years older than what we're using, but it's the same displacement. I went back and checked all the parts lists. Everything is interchangeable, back interchangeable. So the newer engine can be serviced with the older parts and vice versa. The block, the pistons, all the critical rotating parts are the same. Things like electrical and that is different. We'll reuse all of that from the original engine. But what we got out of it was a block and a crank and pistons and rods. I mean, that's what we really wanted. Let me back up. The engine that we got that's used had a broken crankshaft at the flywheel, but the rest of it looked fine. We've had it apart and taken a look at it. We're going to use the block, the pistons, and the rods from the used engine we bought, that Jerry bought, and swap the crankshaft, the good crankshaft, out of our original engine. So when we're done, the original engine will have a new but used block, pistons, and rods. That sort of makes sense? So what we're going to do is dig in here and we're going to start cleaning it up. The engine's been sitting for a while, longer than I wanted, but life gets in the way and you do what you can do. So we're going to remove the pistons and rods and clean the block out, clean the bearings out, relubricate everything, put the new crank in. We have a gasket set and we'll start building it back up as far as we can. Okay, so the first step will be, this is the block we're going to use to go back together, but the crankshaft, this is the broken crank, so we're going to take the rod bolts out, keep the bearings all in order and the caps all in order, and remove the old crank. And then we've got the crank that we're going to use, the good crank, that first we'll remove the crank, then we're going to remove the piston so we can clean the cylinders and so forth. Yeah. And then we'll take the pistons and rods off the other crank and bring that crank over here and install it. And these look like they're 12.3/8 inch socket.
All right. There's that one. You want to take it all the way out?
Can we use that cardboard?
Yeah.
I guess I would say, as we take them out, maybe we just lay them out here.
I'll get her loose and then I'm going to let you take over.
That sucker's on there good and tight. Oh, there it goes.
You get it?
Yeah, I didn't really want to put a tool on it, but
Well, I was going to get a little rubber.
yeah, no, that would have been the next. I agree. Set that there, and there's the bolts, and then the bearing comes out.
So I'm wondering how that left it out of there.
Slide the piston down a little bit. There we
Oh,
go.
there we go. Oh,
And it's
one right there.
yeah, and that's why they'll want us. I think they want us to grease those when they go back together, probably just for that reason. Loose in here if I'm not careful, but maybe I already did.
How does that happen?
I think it's down in. It's down inside the rod.
No, it's right. Oh, I don't have a little magnet either. They're right there.
Yeah, I do. Okay, I'll get a magnet up. I can get those out of there. And if you want to break the next one loose.
All right, so there's that one.
Okay.
That one's ready.
I guess as long as we've got this up on top, why don't you go ahead
That's what I
and,
was just thinking.
yeah, break those and we can get that one while it's accessible. Our other choice was probably to go ahead and lift the whole crank and rod set out.
Well, and I was thinking that too, but
But then you still got to get them on, and we'll have some fun with that one, getting them broken loose too. So
yeah.
I think it's 6 in one, half dozen the other for what we're doing right now. The reason they're so particular about them, see the little cracks or the rough surface there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they split these apart, so then when you put them back together, they want all those areas to match.
Line back up.
Line back up, which is a little tricky, but that's when you go to bolt them back in, they want you to really be precise.
Hmm.
I mean, it's kind of what I've been doing is rolling them around and then taking the top half off, and then the bottom half stays in the rod. At least
Is there
for
one missing there?
on this one?
Yeah, right on that side.
No, they're all there.
Okay.
They're all there. So at this point, yeah, I would say we can just go ahead and lift the crank.
I got a little pry bar, but I didn't know if we wanted to use a pry bar or.
I was gonna.
All right, we got her. Beautiful. Here's the junk crank.
Well, let's start with. Let's go ahead and lift these guys out. Just have to make sure we count really good to make sure that we got. I probably told this story before, but back in my high school days, I was in what they call the power mechanics class, and we used to work on small engines and stuff. And I was pretty good at it, so my instructor had me working with some of the people who weren't quite as good at it.
Right.
And I was trying to help a guy one day, and he came up, he had a lawn boy, and he was short a needle bearing on the crank. And I was like, you're missing a needle, you know, and he said, oh, it wasn't there, it was it to begin with. It had been apart a few times.
Sure.
And I searched and searched and searched, and I couldn't find it. I didn't really trust he was telling me.
Right.
So we put it together and we got it. It ran for about 2 minutes, kind of hit and miss, and all of a sudden it went clang.
Found the other needle bearing.
On the other needle bearing, it sucked up through the port. It was a two-stroke, so lawn boy, so it sucked it up through the port. And when it came through the port, the piston came up. It went right on through the 2 of the rings. That was the end of it.
Sure.
So you always want to count your bearings.
Be careful, there could be a mouse slipping down in there.
Just we'll try to keep things lined up.
This one's gonna suck because I lifted that and all the bearings fell out of it.
Okay, well that's all right. Well, I say it's all right, but let's see if we can get it. So far, so good.
Nothing moving in there?
Yeah, if I had my druthers, every one of these bearings would end up in the same spot, going the same direction, but I know I'm not, you know, it just isn't going to work that way. We'll get it cocked. Okay. All right, so we got the 4 pistons out that we're going to use, and overall they look pretty good. The number 4, the one on the bottom that was kind of really wiped out on the other engine, has a little bit of some scuffing on it, or some wear. It doesn't look too bad, just a little bit of wear. And the other side is clean, so that all looks nice. I'd be happier if it was pristine, but I don't think any of these engines is going to be pristine. Let's get my light here. And if we look at the cylinder walls, there's a couple of marks on this side, top to bottom. There's a couple of, let's say, light markings. Otherwise, not too bad. The other cylinders are pretty darn good too. Still, you get a few markings, but not bad. Overall, I'd say it looks fine. So now we'll take, well, a couple things. One is we'll have some cleanup to do because we want to wipe out these cylinders and make sure that we don't have any grit. We're going to wash out the bearings and get things ready to go back together on the other crank. And then this is the crank we're going to use. We'll use the crank and the main bearings, keep those together, and we're going to pull the rods off and use the rods and bearings that we just removed. But once again, this is the reason we're tearing it down. See, now that is bad wear on the piston. Well, we found on one of the rod journals here that there were some, it looked like corrosion pits on the bottom one, and that was the cylinder that had the scored piston and looked like maybe it had water in it. So it was little lines from the rod bearing. So we're using crocus cloth to polish that out and get the and we're getting pretty doggone close. It's just about down to a mirror, but there's still just a little bit of imprint in there, and we're just going to try to get those polished out. But crocus cloth, not emery paper. This stuff is very special, and it's just for polishing. It's about the only thing you can use on a crankshaft. So we got this one polished out pretty nicely. There's some very, very faint marks that we haven't, but we got it really nice. We're doing things with a spray bottle with mineral spirits in it, and rinsing out the bearing, rinsing out the main bearings, just rinsing. We haven't had them apart, so we're just rinsing, any debris that's around them, cleaning. It's a big cleaning job. Normally, you'd like to take the bearings apart and, clean everything up. But on the other side, to me, we're not going to do it. We're going to leave them assembled. And like I say, just kind of rinse the edges, let them dry. And then I'm going to feed two-stroke oil down through the ports here and make sure they're very well lubricated. The thing is, you can disassemble them, but then you're repositioning every single roller in there and disturbing the bearing. And there really wasn't anything wrong that we could tell with the mains. I mean, the only reason we're taking this apart was we had a scuffed piston down here. So we've just made the decision that we're not going to disassemble that any further. We're going to leave well enough alone and make sure it's clean and well lubricated. And just take the crank with the bearings that it has on it and install it back into this block. And right now what we're doing is cleaning. You don't want to mix any of the rollers from bearing to bearing. And the book says if you had new rollers, not to mix them with old rollers. They should all be consistent. if I had my druthers, I would have tried to keep all the rollers in their spots in the cages and not move them, but they don't come apart that way. So we've looked at, the ends of the rods look nice. Each one of these is scored. Carbide tip tool scratched a number in the side of the rod and in the cap. Keep all the caps lined up, keep them facing the same direction, because they have to be the same direction. We're going to clean all the needles and cages, but we're going to keep the question was, do you keep the bearing with the rod or do you keep the bearing with the crank? And we decided we would keep the bearing with the rod as it came apart. I think it's a coin flip which way you go, but other than that, things are looking pretty good. So we're going to clean those bearings and finish cleaning up the crank and lubricate things, and then start assembling again. All right, so we had to put a new square O-ring on the bearing that goes on the top of the crankshaft. All right, well, we've been going through, got the pistons all cleaned up, all the bearings cleaned up, and they're all separate. They've all been washed in mineral spirits and let dry, and again set so that they can't, so that they don't get mixed up, and they're all matched to the cylinder they came from. And we've not taken the wrist pins out of the pistons. We're going to go ahead and get some two-stroke oil and feed a little extra two-stroke oil in there. We'll put some fresh lube in them, lube around the outside, and then start feeding them into the cylinders. All right, so let's take this first one, which is number 4, and it says up, which is this way, that's the top of the engine. And I had scratched it with number 4 facing me, so that makes sense. So yes, get a little oil in there. So make sure it's lubed good. Put it on the edge of the cylinder here. The pistons are well oiled. So make sure we got good lubrication going together here. They warn you that the piston rings are fragile and brittle, and so you don't want to. You want to be very gentle going in with them.
She went right in, didn't it?
Yep. Yep, feels good. And where's the, okay, there's the port. Now, I need a screwdriver. Straight blade. Something like that right there. Yeah, they just want me to go in and push on the
rings.
Yeah, if you just hold it there for a second. Make sure they sort of spring back like that one did.
Yep.
And that one did too. Okay.
Perfect.
Then we should be able to go the rest of the way down. All the way to the bottom. Okay. Next one. Give it a dose of oil here. Put some up here around the top of the cylinder, bottom of the cylinder, whatever. That's number 3, and the number is facing me, so. There it goes. Yeah, I'd say spring back.
Good.
Okay. I mean, it's very subtle, there's not much,
Oh, in the rings?
yeah, there's not much
Yeah.
movement there.
I'm
but-
sure, yeah.
All right, I'll go do two more here. All right, so at this point, we've greased or two-stroke oil in all the bearings. And top bearing is set, the pistons are all in the block, and they're all leaning this way.
I feel like that bearing is not all the way on,
Okay,
just because
well, that's possible.
I feel like it needs to go on further.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the lip seal was holding it off.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and put a little bit more. Oh, I imagine it will be smoky, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
That's okay.
I think that's right. The only thing we'll watch as we're going together is just, lining up journals with the rods, I guess, so that paper towel was sitting in there.
Yeah.
All right, now then. Because they aren't going to want to stay in that one's. Just a couple comments here on installing the crankshaft. From us looking at the book, we decided to put all of the rods, the upper end of the rod, all toward the side of the block that's facing us. You want to be really careful when you're going in so that you don't hit the rods on the journals and scratch the bearing journals. Second thing is that the bearings, the main bearings, have two holes, 180 degrees apart, and you have to be able to get that hole in the bearing to sit on the pin. There's a dowel pin in the block for each bearing to hold it in place, so it needs to line up and drop in. And then the third thing that you'll see in a minute is as we're trying to figure out how to get the rods attached to the crank, you sort of, it's hard to rotate the crank and line it all up with the rod at the same time. What we wanted to do was have the rod journal on the crankshaft toward the top so we had more room, and then lift the rod up to the crank, and then you have to feed in the cages of the bearings and individually greased rollers into each spot on the cage, and then get it all to line up so that you can set the caps on the rods. Seems like it's got to come forward, just, yeah, like that. But we're still not in. That one's probably out by a ways. Because you want to have one up and one down, I think.
What was that?
No, that's just this. See, that one feels like it's lined up. That one,
Oh, that one.
That one did, there it went. We're just wiggling them back and forth until they. But this one hasn't yet either. Dang it. Come on.
Has that got a little hole for it too?
Yeah. Oh,
Or a little pin?
yeah. Yep, it does.
Okay.
There's a hole on each side and a pin. And got lots of two-stroke oil in there. Let's sneak that back on there. Come on. Well, something's holding us up a little bit. I don't know. Oh, there, that one hadn't dropped in yet.
Yep.
It's like you got to start at one end, and because that one doesn't have a pin. Oop, there it goes. Now she's in.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, don't go too far.
Sorry.
No, you're
I'll quit talking.
No, you're all right. It's just I just was being careful with the rods. Okay.
God, that feels like that's gonna suck, trying to get them in there.
Well, I think we'll be all right, because what we'll do is, this one is right now. I need to turn that though. This one's at the top, so if I can grab this and lift it up, we can grease the bearings, drop them in,
Okay.
and then once this one's in, we can start working our way around
Okay.
and lifting them up one at a time, and I think we can work on them up top.
Okay.
I just want to be careful we don't scratch the journals with the rods going,
Sure.
when we're turning it. So, but we finally got her dropped in. So let's.
So this one's gonna come up.
Yes.
How far do you wanna, how
Yeah,
far?
Pretty far. Probably. I'd go a little more yet.
So you can still get it out here and
Yeah, I
work
can-
on it?
Yep. Exactly. And then I need to sort of turn it like that, just get it lined up. But yeah, now it's sitting out here where I can reach it. So I think we can do is then lay the bearings in, grease them, lift it up, put the top one in,
Okay.
spin the bolts down, and then catch the next one. And these are all still in order, so we'll take this one off the end here. There's the cage. Drop the cage in there. Fun, but I want you to grease each one of these dudes. And set them in there.
I'm gonna help, because that one ain't.
Okay,
There you go.
that's fine. Yeah, I saw it didn't look like it was quite where it needed to be, so. Oh, shoot.
Oh, no, don't.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. It just surprised me.
Don't tell me, Dan.
It's okay. I was pushing the bearings in, and it pushed the piston
Oh.
back down into the cylinder. And it's all good. It just surprised me. It's one of those oh no moments, All right. So we got that one in there. And then I can put some more grease on here. Like so. And then, I guess since I'm all greasy, I'm going to say if you can take that rod and bring it up to the crank. Yeah, like that. Then I can I can drop this one on top. And start loading rollers into it. I'm going to see how good this works, but
It's gonna work perfect. See?
yep.
Now, if we fill all, or run out of bearings and the slots aren't full, that's a problem.
That would be a problem, yeah. I've been counting as I go, most of them, but you can always miscount too.
Why do they want grease?
Well, I think they want the grease so it doesn't separate, but they also want it, I think, is,
To hold the bearings in there or something?
I think it's an initial lube to get you started too,
Okay.
when you first fire the engine up.
Okay.
And they picked this particular grease because it's, according to the book, it's this is their 2,4-C grease, and they know it's gasoline soluble. So over
Oh.
time, it will over time the gasoline will rinse it out of the bearing.
Okay.
was kind of hoping to see was that we, did that. I wanted to make sure that it would go past the split line.
Okay.
Let you see what it, like it did.
Yep.
So now we ought to be able to make sure I got it the right way. Yep, the number's on this end. That's number 1.
Should be.
Should be. So we can set that in place and...
Oh, you want me to grab them or?
Well, let me wipe my fingers. I'll get the bolts while you're holding it so it doesn't slip. We'll get them started.
I can get that if you want to get the other one.
Alright. That way we just don't lose the bearings, that's all.
Right.
And we need to be, extra careful before we get tight with them to make sure that that the split lines are correct. So for right now, I'm just going to leave them just lightly finger tight.
Okay.
And we can go at the next one. But with that done, what's the best next one? It's probably
this one.
probably that one.
Well,
Yeah, I'm just,
I guess it don't matter either this one or.
I was kind of looking for which one was closest to the top, so to speak.
That's gonna hit that.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, so that's probably why they have you do that. You probably want to go this way.
And bring that one up to it.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, which one's next, right?
Well, this one's hitting, so you'd almost have to push that piston all the way down.
Yep. So that one's following. That one's okay.
That one should too.
And this one should too.
So then we could get to this one.
Square to the world. It's turned a little bit.
That's weird. Because
Yeah.
it felt like it was something wrong.
Yeah, it did. It felt. You just got to get the pistons in the right spot, I guess. And all right. And I keep wanting to try to get them perfectly straight, and they keep arguing with me on that
Well, them
front.
little
But
bastards.
that's all right. Okay, so let's make sure I get the right set here. 1, 2. So that's number 3.
Three.
So we'll take number 3, we'll take the cage, and grease it good.
Bill number 3, Dan.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I don't
I know.
grab out of the wrong pile here. Okay, and you're holding that rod up?
I am.
Okay. That one didn't feel like it had snapped into the cage yet.
2 more.
So just deliberately checking my piles
That's all right.
because we aren't going in sequence. We're going in the middle. I just have to make sure I don't. Okay.
All right,
So then that one ought to come up to be able to come up to the crank now.
so I need to turn the crank a little bit.
And then lift it.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
Oh, I don't want that.
Well, it can be off a little bit. It's
Yep.
okay. Okay, I should put a little extra grease on here. Well, didn't want to put it down the bolt hole necessarily, but all right, get a good dose there. I know I could probably start at the end.
I would just start wherever's convenient.
That was kind of what I was doing. I think that's good. Then I need the cap and the numbers facing me.
Number 3.
Number 3. I'll go ahead and throw a little more grease in that too, just for fun. Get the rod bolts going here. Oh, just one thing. Well, what I did on the other one was, let me just lift that off of it, was just make sure
Oh, that would spin, yep.
that it would, yeah, that it would go past the split line.
There you go.
I don't know that that makes a big difference, but it seemed like, that's how they came apart. I think when they're operating, I think they walk around.
I'm sure they do, yeah. I don't know how they couldn't.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Good.
So now, where do we want to start?
So we'll go on and get the next two of them, whatever is easiest. Well, it looks like this one's going to be going to the top, but...
Yeah, I just want to bring this with
All right. Sounds good.
it because I know that.
Okay, so we got oil on the threads,
Yep.
and
You check them, but
I will, yeah, so we're supposed to make sure that it's seated and that it's not offset. And it sure seems like it's good to me. Although that backside, just a minute, the backside isn't down yet, so.
it isn't. What do
No,
you mean?
no, there's a
This?
gap. Yeah, yep. Okay. Now, see, now that doesn't feel right. Because they want you to not have a, just feel that right there. Feels like it's got a edge on it.
So that would mean that this has one the other way.
That would seem like it.
Boy, how the hell do you fix that?
Well, we loosen the screws. And you jiggle it around a little bit until it...
Well, I did that and I thought I
You
had
thought
it.
you had it, okay. I understand. But I can see it moving back and forth now. It's kind of a... It's kind of a tricky thing. So let's snug them. Now see if they're any better. Still feels like there's a hair of something there, but when you go over to this side, it's just fine. I mean, that looks... That looks fine. You think? I mean,
I do. You're probably pickier than I am, though.
well, I think it's just not drawn down all the way. There's still a gap there,
Oh,
which you would think it's just this machined surface on this side. I can pick up a little edge with my fingernail. Well, they want 15 inch-pounds, so let's see what that looks like here. There's 15. I just put enough on it. Let's see if that pulls it out. Oh, that's better. That's better. Squeeze the grease out. See what you think. I think we're good on that one.
oh yeah.
I think it just had to draw it up a little bit.
Yeah, I feel nothing.
No, yeah, it's come right in where it belongs.
Yep.
All right, good.
So how do we do that? Do that one,
I think as long as it's sitting there,
do it all the way?
I think I would finish that one.
Okay.
There's no reason why they have to be done in a pattern.
Right,
I think I would finish this one and then,
okay.
so the next would be to go 30 with this one. And you said you've got this one?
This is foot pounds.
Yep, okay. Which is correct. Yep, it's finger tight and 15, then 15 inch pounds, then 30 foot pounds.
And then
And then 90
90.
degrees.
figured that was happening.
Okay, there's 30. And this is why you had a fun time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now we want to mark.
yeah, mark and go 90 degrees from wherever we're at.
Can you see that?
Yeah, maybe you want to go up to the on the angle
top.
there. Yeah, right over the corner. Yeah, like that.
You see that?
Okay, and then it needs to be 90 degrees is straight ahead over here, right?
That's 45. 90 is all the way around the other side.
No, that's 180. 90,
Oh, yeah, you're
90
right. Yep, you're
90 is the right angle, right?
Okay, yep.
Okay, and then the same thing will be true here, but we can.
Oh, yeah, we need to mark that one.
Yep. And so it's got to turn facing, both of them got to turn facing you.
Yep.
All right. I'll try to hold the block on this. That's going to be it.
I think I can hold it.
Well, what I'm wondering is, come around this side. Let's see if I pull this way, I'm less likely to turn the crank, is what I was.
Sure.
Let's see how we're doing. Well, we're 45 degrees. I'll just take a second bite of it.
A little more.
Just a little more. Yep. Good. All right. Yeah, I remembered seeing 30 foot-pounds in the book, but I forgot about that wasn't the end. Just a little bit more. Darn close though. So get them lined up, 15, 30, and then 90 degrees. Okay, so the fingernail test is, oh yeah, feels pretty darn good. That side's perfect. Side's pretty darn good too. I feel just a little bit on this machine side, but I think when we put some torque on it, I think it's going to be fine. Because all the other distance is fine, so let's do.
Go ahead.
Because now, yeah, see now it's nice. Now that it's pulled up and,
Yeah.
and the grease is squeezed out. Well, that's sure tricky, but there we go. That's good. All right, now 30. Excellent. There we go. Maybe you want to switch ends.
Yeah.
Probably gonna. I'll try to go forward. Then we want to go 90 to there, so I'll push instead of pull. About 45. Go just a hair,
A
huh?
little bit. Perfect.
All right. really watch fingers.
I know.
Get caught in there.
A little bit.
Almost.
Dan. A little bit.
Still more? Okay.
Yep. That's pretty good.
All right. All right. Rods are torqued.
All right.
So for today, we don't have the master gasket sealant that needs to go underneath the intake. So for today, we're just going to set the intake on here and set the reed valves on top just to keep dirt out of the engine, and we'll cover the side of the block with something until we're ready to bolt up those covers.